Cowboy Entrepreneur Show, created and hosted by Scott Knudsen, to explore the crossroads of horses and business. Now here's your host, Scott Knudsen.
Hi, and welcome to the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show. I'm your host, Scott Knudsen. We appreciate you watching the show today. We have a very special show, just a great man. He is the Texas Agricultural Commissioner for the great state of Texas. He's a horseman, a rancher, an entrepreneur, and I've been following him a long time, and I appreciate him taking time to be on the show. Everybody, Commissioner Sid Miller.
Good to be with you, Scott. Good evening.
Oh, man, I'm just tickled to death. I'm so excited for people to get to know you and everything you do for the state and for agriculture in general.
Well, it's an honor to get to do it. And, I make a real job out of it. It's just not a political position for me. I tell everybody, I'm your ag commissioner today. I'm going to be your ag commissioner tomorrow. I'm going to be your ag commissioner next week. And if you keep reelecting me, I'll be your ag commissioner next year and the year after that. So we work at it.
Absolutely. And that's why I think so many people love you and follow you and are so glad you are, because that's a big deal, well, let's talk about you. Let's talk about growing up. I know you're an 8th generation former rancher, and that's a big deal. I'm a 5th and my daughter's a 6th, so we're trying to catch up.
Well, my family came to the United States in 1700, came from Ireland. We began farming and ranching. Of course, 95%, Scott, of the people that came at that time period were homesteaders. So 95% of us were farmers. Now it's about 2%. So we kind of dwindled down a little bit.
A little bit.
But anyway, after 4 generations of farming North, South Carolina, Pennsylvania, we ended up in Texas around the turn of the century after the Civil War. So we've been here ever since. We settled in Comanche County, Texas, in the northern part of the county. I grew up on a farm on Flat Creek, which is a tributary of the Leon River. And we grew maize, or Milo as we call it today, and peanuts. We had hogs, we had chickens, of course we had goats. In that time it was mohair goats. We had beef cattle, raised horses. My granddad and my dad's theory was you need to be diversified. Because in the agriculture, you got about 12 things going. 6 of them are a flop, 5 of them are just okay, and maybe 2 of them will make a little money. So you got to try lots of stuff.
Oh, that's so true. Yeah, that's so true. And everybody's looking for those 2 things.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I love that. So did you know, growing up, you do so much giving back, and leading the state. Is that something you kind of always thought about, or is it just something that you just naturally articulated to?
As a young kid, I didn't think, actually when I was a young kid, I had 2 ambitions. I couldn't decide if I wanted to be an Indian chief or a sumo wrestler. I thought those would be the 2 most cool occupations you could have. I didn't make either one.
Yeah.
But we grew up there in the country. We didn't have a telephone. We built our own phone line into town. That's how far out we were. Of course, I grew up on Flat Creek. We had coon hounds and cane poles, to fish. And I had an older brother. There's 5 of us, older brother, and I'm the second. So one day my father and older brother, they're going to teach me to swim. Well, we go down to Flat Creek, and there's a deep hole called the Blue Hole. So they take me down the Blue Hole, and they just pick me up and throw me in the deepest end. And, oh, my gosh, learning to swim was the easy part. The hard part was getting out of the tow sack.
Oh, man. As soon as you started talking, I was thinking John Wayne and Hondo. He threw him in the water.
Yeah.
He didn't have a tow sack.
Yeah.
Oh, my.
Once you get out of that tow sack, the swimming part comes pretty natural.
You're a quick learner.
Yeah.
Oh, what a great way to grow up, though. Just being in the country with all those different resources and having a big family like that.
Oh, yeah. Wasn't anything to it. You'd maybe going to go home with one of your buddies on the weekend, so you'd get on the school bus on Friday with your 22 and a box of shells and just go to school and put all that in your locker. And then after school's out, get your gun, your ammo, get on the bus, and go to your buddy's house. So no one
Yeah.
thought anything about it.
Isn't that amazing?
Amazing.
Isn't it? Yeah. It's just, it seems like a different world ago, but
It definitely is. It'll lock you up, throw away the key.
quick with a toe sack. So growing up, were you around, I guess horses and livestock as well? I know you said the mohair, but was that something you kind of went toward, was the horses and the cattle?
Well, we didn't have hardly any neighbors, no neighbors' kids, so we kind of had to make our own fun. My first mode of transportation, I guess I was probably 2.5 or 3. I had a pet sheep, and I taught that pet sheep to ride around. I could ride that sheep to the barn and back, or wherever my dad was. It was pretty cool. In the summer, didn't work too good. It'd get hot real quick with all that wool on it. But in the fall and winter, and then I graduated. I got me a really nice rig. My dad got me a donkey and a cart, so I could. That was my next mode of transportation. And I was moving up 4 or 5, 6, But by the time I got 6 or 7, I had a horse, and I've had horses ever since. That's when we started roping and riding, milk pen calves and calf riding at the rodeos, and entered the breakaway roping in the barrel race. And so that was our entertainment. We didn't have TV till I was probably in the 2nd or 3rd grade. So fun on the farm, that was entertainment.
Oh man, you didn't need it, growing up like that, getting to be around those horses. Do you remember your first horse, the name, and what it was like getting it?
Yeah, the first real horse was Nell. She wasn't actually my horse; she was my dad's horse, but she was amazing. She could run the barrels, just naturally trained herself. We'd go to the amateur rodeos. My dad would enter me 7 or 8 years old. I'd win the open barrel race, and then 3 or 4 of the girls from our hometown, they would ride her, and we'd all win 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th on that one mare. They hated to see my trailer roll up.
I bet they did. Yeah, they were just donating to the cause whenever you rolled up.
Oh yeah. But anyway, competition probably wasn't as tough then as it is now. It's more specialized, and because this mare, Dad tripped steers on her and roped calves and worked cattle, and she pulled a cart when we headed maize for the sows. Just whatever. They had to do it all.
Invaluable. Those horses, when you find something like that, even today, that's a special deal. The one that can do anything, and those usually never leave the ranch.
She never did. She died right there on the ranch. We got some colts out of her and kind of kept the bloodline going.
Awesome. That's so wonderful. So wonderful. So what was it like going to school? You have your agriculture, you have your weekends with your friends, but going to school, were you playing sports? Were you studying anything in particular?
Well, I really love sports, love baseball, love to play on the all-star team in the summertime at the end. Because we got to leave town. We got to go to surrounding towns. I hardly ever been out of the county. That was a big deal to go to someplace else to play ball. So that was eye-opening. Sure. Football, I kind of got my dauber in the dirt. I got to start when I was a freshman. There's only 2 of the freshmen made the varsity in this town where I grew up. And then about halfway through, my coach said, "Hey, Miller," "where'd you get that belt buckle you're wearing?" I said, "I won it." He said, "Where'd you win it?" I said, "I won it over at the rodeo." He said, "What else did you win?" I said, "I won about $150. He said, "Oh," I was afraid of that. I said, "What's wrong?" He said, "Well, under UIL rules, you're considered a professional athlete, and I can't put you on the 8th. You can't play varsity sports." I said, "Really?" I put you on the B team. So anyway, that kind of ended my high school sports because I didn't want to, be a bench warmer or play on the B team. That wasn't very appealing to me. I want to be on the A team where the cheerleaders were, where the girls
Absolutely.
were.
Smart man.
The B team on Thursday night with nobody in the stands. Who wants to do that?
No.
So I
got to go cash checks.
Yeah, I just rodeoed instead, and I think the year after I graduated high school, they changed that rule. And I think now it's okay to win saddles and buckles and prize money and whatever.
Wow.
But
Wow. Well, did that lead you to Tarleton? Is that what led you to Tarleton?
Well, kind of a tragic story. When I was a senior in high school, I just broke my leg in the bull riding. I couldn't work. And my dad had a horrific accident, had brain surgery, a roping accident, was in a coma for a year. Cattle prices were at an all-time high, and the president froze the price of beef. He took the price of beef off, and we had cattle everywhere because we thought when the freeze was lifted that they'd go even higher. They went to nothing. And then there was my dad laying in bed. We had to sell it. We went bankrupt. The bank come and got everything, even got my mother's car. I mean, we had less than zero. We had lost everything and we're still in debt. And there was my dad in the hospital bed. My mom got 4 kids at home to raise, and we didn't know what we were going to do. And I thought, well, I can't work. I've got a bum leg. I can't even go get a job at the gas station, to help my mom. So we didn't know what we were going to do. So my ag teacher, of all people, come to me and said, I know you wanted to go to college. I said, yeah, but I don't think that's in the cards now. I don't think I'm going to be able to go. He said, well, I'll tell you what. He said, let me make a call up here to Cisco Junior College. He said, I may be able to get you a scholarship. I said, for what? He said, just hang on. So he called up there, and he got me a full academic scholarship. And I'm a B student. I mean, I'm not even on. I'm smart. I mean, things come easy to me. I mean, I could have been an A student, but I like fast cars and fast horses and girls and, the dance after the rodeo. I mean, I wasn't into studying. That was the last thing So anyway, he got me a scholarship up there to Cisco Junior College. And then if I had met my ag teacher, I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you. I definitely wouldn't be the ag commissioner. So that kind of inspired me. And then through that, I went on, got elected, student body president, class president, kind of kicked that off, transferred to Tarleton, got married, and raised a family and started a business, and everything worked out.
Man, isn't that amazing? I appreciate you telling me. I'm sorry that happened to your family, but it's important for people to know when your family's going through something that one person can shift the generation again.
Yeah, that my ag teacher changed my life. He really did.
Yeah. Golly. And there's a lot of good ones in this state, that's for sure.
Yep. Yeah, I don't know where I'd have been or what direction life would have took me. But I wouldn't have been here today if he hadn't saw something in me and believed in me and, went out of his way to help me out.
That's awesome. I love that. I don't love the story, but I love the outcome.
Yeah.
And it just took that one person. So let's talk about horses right before the break. So as you're going to college, are you kind of thinking you're going to start crafting your entrepreneurship? And because you have so many great businesses, which we're going to talk about in the next segment, is that kind of where you started crafting where you wanted to go in life?
Well, in college, I kind of lost interest in rodeoing. Mm-hmm. College was a struggle financially for me. I didn't take out any student loans. I worked my way through school, had to work for what I had. And every time I laid down that entry fee money and I didn't win anything, that stung pretty hard. And because I still had school to pay for, bills to pay for. And when I went to Tarleton, I just quit. Said, I'm not rodeoing anymore. I've got, we got married when we were a junior. So I just kind of put it on the back shelf. Still had horses, still had cattle, and was still doing that. But rodeo just was, I didn't do it. And I wrote my last calf when I was 21. The next one I wrote, I was 47. Football's a big deal here in Stephenville in the late 90s. Mm-hmm. And the youngest one was a junior. He come in one day and said, Dad, would you be mad if I didn't play football? I said, if you're playing football for me, you're playing for the wrong reason. Don't play. I mean, you do what you want to do. I'm not, what do you want to do? He said, well, I'd like to learn to rope calves. I said, you're going to knock me over with a feather. Really? I said, okay. So, you know how it is. They want to learn to shoot a bow and arrow, and that lasts about 30 days. And then they want to learn to shoot clay pigeons, and that lasts about 30 days. And then they want to, paintball thing, something, and that lasts, So I'll tell you what I'm going to do. You get out here on my ranch horse. I've got a big pen. I bought 10 calves. I said, when you can cut a calf out and rope all 10 calves in a row without missing, we'll talk about building an arena and getting you a horse to rope on. But you're going to have to at least stick through it. It was just natural. I mean, within a week to 10 days, he'd cut one out and rope it, cut one out and rope it, cut one out and rope it. I said, okay. So anyway, to shorten the story, we started roping, and he wasn't getting it one day. And I said, well, just give me that horse. Let me show you. And so I got on there, and he couldn't figure out how to get off. I said, well, just watch. So it was like riding a bicycle. It's like I just roped yesterday. I mean, it was all just felt good. So I'll run out there, and I roped one, and I run off the right side, and I turned about 3 cartwheels. Woof, 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 woof. And I'm laying there on the ground going, he's trying to get my breath. And he comes up, puts his hand down, says, oh, Dad, okay, I think I got it now. I think I got it.
Oh, my. Yeah.
So anyway, we both started rodeoing, and I've never had so much fun in my life. For the next 2 years, we went all over the United States together, entering the calf roping. And I had a time of my life with my son that, that's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. And so that rekindled my desire for roping horses. Of course, that brought about Pearl and all the other great horses that have come through my barn since that time.
Oh, I love that stories. I mean, you can't even buy those memories. That's so special. You got to do that. And did you charge him for the show?
No, I'll tell you another funny story, though. So after Pearl came along, I mean, she was kind of like the one everybody judged the other roping horse. She was kind of like the secretary to racing. She's kind of the tie down horse to tie down. So I took her to my first world show and won the world. And the same son, I was so proud. I put that buckle right on my belt. I'd never won a world championship in the AQHC. I'd never even been to a world show. I mean, my first trip, I win it. And there's some good horses there. Absolutely. And so I come in, and I'm tired, and come in the back door, and I come in the living room, and Joseph said, hey, Dad, heard you did good. I said, yeah, I did real good. He said, come over here and lay down on the couch. I said, what? He said, yeah, come over here and lay down on the couch. I said, lay down on the couch? What do you want me to lay down on the couch? He said, I want to see that belt buckle.
So you go lay on the couch.
So I went and lay down on the couch so my belly lay flat enough he could see my belt buckle.
Oh, man, you had your hands full, didn't you?
Oh, yeah.
I love it. I love it. Well, we're going to take a quick break and come right back. And we want to talk about the cattle business and the landscaping business and maybe a few more horse stories. We'll be right back with Commissioner Miller right after this break.
Thank you for listening to the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show. Scott will be right back with more. For more information on Scott Knudsen, the Cowboy Entrepreneur, visit us online at cowboyentrepreneur.com.
Hi, I'm Scott Knudsen, host of the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show. I'd like to talk to you about something I'm very passionate about. Those that know me know I love my coffee. In the morning, afternoon, and even late in the evening, I enjoy a good cup of coffee almost any time of the day. Now, my team at the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show has been working for several months on creating and introducing our own brand of coffee. We wanted to make sure that we got it just right. We don't want to put our name on anything unless we're 100% certain that it's the best product available, and we've finally done it. We have created a wonderful line of coffees. You can order these coffees today by going online to javacowboy.com. That's javacowboy.com. Now, each of our coffees carries our brand, the very same brand that we put on our horses, our trailers, and our chaps. So you know that this is a quality product. And we only use 100% Arabica beans, the very best beans available. Just go to javacowboy.com to order your coffee today. Hi, and welcome back to the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show. I'm your host, Scott Knudsen, with the Agricultural Commissioner for the great state of Texas, a horseman, a rancher, entrepreneur, Commissioner Sid Miller. And I'm just loving the stories. I started listening. I became a viewer of the show as opposed to watching the clock and everything else. I'm just enjoying it. So let's talk about your entrepreneurial journey, because you have so many great businesses, the horse business, cattle business, your Lone Oak landscape business. What started that for you? Is that a mind shift? Because we have so many business people watching.
Well, I started out with less than nothing. We talked about, my family. So I had to take a self-inventory of what my abilities were. What kind of talents had God given me? I've got to make a living. I've got to provide for myself. I've got to put myself through school. My wife was the same way. So I thought, well, two talents that I have that I can make money with. I know how to break colts. I can do that. Probably get plenty of colts to break. And I know how to shoe horses, because my dad was World War II veteran, Marine, wounded 4 times. He was pretty crippled up. He really couldn't stay under a horse very long, but he had taught me how to shoe horses. So I said, I can do that and go to school and not have to hold down a full-time job. So I can ride those colts when I have spare time, and I can line up. So I put myself through school and through college, and also worked some at the sale barns in the ring, and was able to come up with a pickup, the gooseneck trailer, which kind of new at that period, believe it or not. They've been around a long time now. And I would work the sale barn all day, haul cattle all night, try to get back to class before daylight, and then probably sleep through class,
Yeah.
shoe a horse or two in the afternoon and ride a colt, and then, do it again. But it was hard work, but it got me through college. So that's my first taste of being self-employed and an entrepreneur. So when I got out of college, I was actually an ag teacher. I was so inspired by that ag teacher that kind of picked me up as a stray cat and put me back on the right path. That I said, I want to do that. I want to make a difference in some young person's life. And I hope I did that for 5 years, and I hope I did that. But I always continued to buy and sell and trade cattle and run, lease some wheat ground and straighten cattle out and run stockers, and always had a good mare or two around that I kept bred, young horses that I would train, and just kind of grew that operation, a little by little over the years until it's the operation I've got today, where I've got about 45 head of horses and 3 stallions, and it's not my full-time job, but it's my full-time hobby, because I don't have a bass boat. I don't have a Harley Davidson. I've never golfed, I do fly fish. I go about every 4 or 5 years, so I'm not an avid fly fisherman. I do like to get to the mountains and get away. So started landscape business, started digging trees myself with a shovel, my head down, my butt up off a place I had leased. I'd worked at a nursery here in Stephenville, and 130 acres. And there was 5 families making a living off 130 acres. I thought, man, we got 6,000 acre leased, and we can't make a living off of that. And there's 5 families making a living off 130 acres. That always appealed to me. That was always in the back of my head. So they taught me how to dig, nursery stock. So I would dig a few live oaks, red oaks, load them on my trailer, and I'd go to West Texas on the weekend. Shoot, I'd make more money on the weekend selling trees than I did all week as an ag teacher. So that didn't take a genius to figure that out. So pretty quick, I quit that and started selling trees, and bought my own farm and planted nurseries and leased more country for cattle and, just grew it. Had put in a couple of gift stores, seasonal Christmas stores.
Did you really?
Would sell that. Had a mail order company back when there was mail order companies. Now they're all internet companies. But I sold specialty nuts, pecans, peanuts, pistachios, all flavored, chocolate covered and bourbon flavored, and we'd do Christmas gifts for corporations that want to send their clients and stuff like that. And that was pretty lucrative. And of course, I had trucks, and we did trucking, and you name it. I've done about all of it.
Man, I love that. I love that. First off, you had the grit. You didn't start a business and look for someone else to do it. You jumped in and did it. But you kind of, it seems like you just kind of found something that would work, and then you just kind of focused on it and worked it.
Well, when I started roping calves, I thought, well, this is expensive sport. I can't, this is going to have to pay for itself. So what I did is I would buy roping calves and supply the calves to the jackpots and the roads. I'd keep 100, 120 head of roping calves, fresh calves all the time. So we'd haul those all over Texas, New Mexico to PRCA rodeos, jackpot ropings. They had these big, then the USCRA ropings on the weekends. Mm-hmm. And by buying 100 to 125 head of those every month, I'd run 1,000 to 1,500 yearlings through the winter too, and then I'd take them all the way to the feed lot. So I'd have sometimes 2,000 to 10,000 head of cattle in the feed lot. So I had a lot of stuff going on. Had a lot of stuff.
You did. So maybe somebody watch. How do you compartmentalize like all your different businesses you're doing, but you and your family are still so close? And how do you organize, I guess, your thoughts to do that?
I would divide it into segments, allocations. It's kind of like this job I've got now, the Texas Department of Agriculture. I have 130 separate functions that we're to perform. You can't just, it's just overwhelming. So you have to compartmentalize it. You have to put somebody in charge. You got to have confidence in them. And just, I just hit the high points. I just make sure everything's moving, that nothing stops moving. If it stops moving, that's a problem. And that's kind of the way in my business. I've started, mentioned a few. I've started a lot more businesses than that. But it's been good, but you do have to learn to delegate. That's the hardest thing for a lot of people is learning to delegate.
Absolutely. Well, you got to hire right, and that's tough, and then to put your trust in someone, because that's your name, that's your brand.
Well, here's my philosophy on hiring right. I always hire people smarter than me and let them tell me what I need to do.
That's good. That's good. I got a line of them. Oh man. So so I'm going to ask you, this might be hard, like what's your favorite child, but what was your favorite business? Do you have a favorite one, or do they all balance you? Do you need them all?
There's no doubt about it. It's the horses.
Yeah.
Definitely the horses. And I'm a kind of a oddball out here. There's no one that I really don't know anyone that has an operation like what I've got. There's some that have it in the cutting horse industry. There's a lot of them that have it in the racing horse industry. But in the calf horse industry, I don't know of anyone that's doing what I'm doing. And I've been doing it for so many generations that I've got that calf horse bred into my herd.
Right.
So I'll pick a mare. It may be a bloodline that was a bloodline that carried Joe Beaver to the NFR, or Jerome Schneeberger. He had a great horse called Touchdown. So I buy mares of that bloodline. I've got mares out of Patty's Irish Whiskey that have carried champions near and far. I've got bloodlines of Pearl who carried, that's my main bloodline. Carried Cody O to 16 gold round wins and 2 PRCA horses of the year, and carried me to 3 world championships at the AQHA World. So I pick good mares that have produced or the bloodlines have produced top calf horses. And then I breed to my 3 stallions, which are all world champions themselves, multiple world champions. So on my place, I have bred, raised, broke, trained, and shown myself 25 world champions have come out of my barn.
Wow.
And that's in 4 different breeds. That's quarter horse paint, buckskin, and Appaloosa. So no one else that I know
No.
does that.
No.
So it's kind of a real focused thing for me, and I research it, and I think we've got the results to prove that we know what we're doing.
Heck yeah. What a testament. I mean, that's a long way from the donkey and the cart, you know?
It is.
Yeah, dog. And I know how hard that is. You know, I grew up in the business. My dad was a calf roper, and I know how hard it is. What do you think about with the breakaway roping now for all the ladies out there? You know, they're roping 1-8, 1-9, 2-1. I mean, so quick. Is that kind of helping with what you're doing as far as the calf roping horses?
Oh, it's great for me. I mean, it's been great for my horse. But my horses are bred to start and stop real quick.
There you go.
Both ends, start and stop. These horses I'm raising are the perfect breakaway horse. They're perfect tie down horse. Matter of fact, I've had horses at the NFR not only in the tie down and the breakaway, but also in the team roping and the barrel race. So they're just good performance horses. Period. They're athletes.
Absolutely. Well, hopefully one day the breakaway will be in there as well, and you'll have another one in that category. That'd be kind of cool. Yeah, and I think it's headed that way for sure. I'll tell you what, that sport is blown up as far as with the breakaway ropers.
Oh, I'm glad to see it. I really am. Really glad to see it.
Yeah,
they've even added an open breakaway at the AQHA.
Good
this time, so it's even spreading to the breed associations.
That's so good.
They've always had it in the amateur, but there's actually an open division now.
That's awesome. I mean, it's so good for the industry, from the truck sales to the trailer sales to feed and but to your business as well. You know, it's a shot we all needed for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to be on the final segment. Just a little bit more information and maybe a word of encouragement from Commissioner Miller. We'll be right back on the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show.
Thank you for listening to the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show. Scott will be right back with more. For more information on Scott Knudsen, the Cowboy Entrepreneur, visit us online at cowboyentrepreneur.com.
Hi, I'm Scott Knudsen, host of the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show. I'd like to talk to you about something I'm very passionate about. Those that know me know I love my coffee. In the morning, afternoon, and even late in the evening, I enjoy a good cup of coffee almost any time of the day. Now, my team at the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show has been working for several months on creating and introducing our own brand of coffee. We wanted to make sure that we got it just right. We don't want to put our name on anything unless we're 100% certain that it's the best product available, and we've finally done it. We have created a wonderful line of coffees. You can order these coffees today by going online to javacowboy.com. That's javacowboy.com. Now, each of our coffees carries our brand, the very same brand that we put on our horses, our trailers, and our chaps. So you know that this is a quality product. And we only use 100% Arabica beans, the very best beans available. Just go to javacowboy.com to order your coffee today. Welcome back to the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show. I'm your host, Scott Knudsen, here with Commissioner Miller of the great state of Texas. And we were telling horse stories and just entrepreneur stories, but right now I'd like to talk about the future of agriculture. And what do you see as far as the future of agriculture, maybe not just in the state of Texas, but across the country?
Well, under this administration, we're facing some very tough times. We're doing a lot of stupid things as a country. Number one, we've got to stop selling our farmland to our enemies like China. I mean, that's just the stupidest thing we do. It's allow China to buy our farmland and put up wind farms and give them access to our grid and spy, build these things right next to our military bases and spy on our military secrets and allow them to be the Smithville Foods, for instance, Scott, is the largest pork producer in the nation and the largest pork processor in the nation, and they're owned by the Chinese. It's just not smart. Absolutely stupid.
Yeah.
So the next thing that's really bothered me is these new livestock mRNA vaccines. We've just went through the human mRNA the COVID, and all the research that they told us, it's all lies. You can't believe any of it. Right. I don't know why we need new vaccines in livestock. I've got a vaccine for everything I want to give them, and they work just fine. So, and there's research out there, but then again, I don't trust the research. So we got that to deal with. I think the most dangerous thing facing agriculture, facing the oil and gas industry, facing mining, facing timber, and a whole host of others, Biden in his first week of office, he instituted his 30 by 30 plan. You don't know what that is. He wants to idle 30% of our land, take it out of production by the year 2030. Now, that's an area bigger than the Louisiana Purchase. And that means completely out of production, shut down agriculture, oil and gas, mining, timber, any related sources. And they're well on the way to do that. So no one's talking about it. The media is not talking about it. I'm talking about it. You probably have seen in the news, they're also doing this in Europe, but Europe's a little farther along than we are. The European Union decided to do this. And a friend of mine, Robert Roos, he's in the European Parliament. He came to see me back in June. He's from the Netherlands, Scott. He said in the Netherlands, first thing they did was outlaw nitrogen fertilizer. You can no longer use nitrogen fertilizer. Next thing they did was nationalize half of the farmland, took it away from the farmers, made them get rid of half their livestock. You think we're generational farmers? Some of those European farmers, they've been in centuries in the same family. Right. He told me that every 12 days in the Netherlands, a farmer commits suicide because of that. So they have revolted over there against their government. The farmers revolted, they had a rebellion. I think their parliament leader, had been in there 30 years. I think they threw him out. Sri Lanka outlawed any type of commercial fertilizer. The people are starving over there. Ireland just about 2 months ago put out a directive for their farmers to get rid of 50% of their livestock. So it's real. We're not seeing those headlines over here. It's a global initiative to lower the population of the planet. If they can control the food, they can control the people. So I'm fighting real hard on that. One more thing. I know I'm going on here. It's been a pet peeve of mine for a long time. And the two highest occupations for suicide in this nation are veterans and farmers and ranchers.
Yes,
you might say, well, why is that? Well, let's say you're the 8th generation on this cotton farm. You've just missed your 3rd crop. The bank's calling all your notes. You don't know what to do. You're responsible for the family legacy. It looks like you're the one that's going to lose it all. What do you do? Well, typical farmer, we're very proud. We're independent. We're kind of introverts for the most part. We stay out on the farm, on the tractor 12, 14 hours a day. We don't socialize a lot because we don't have time. We're certainly not going to ask anybody for help. We're too proud. So I came up, and it's not a typical suicide hotline. I call it my AgriStress HelpLine. I wish I had the number in front of me. I don't. It's easy to find. Just Google AgriStress HelpLine or go to texasagriculture.gov. Maybe y'all can, for the show, you can put it on the screen.
Yes, sir.
The difference in my hotline and the 988 suicide hotline is I have this man 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. And when you call that hotline, the person that answers it, guess what? Understands agriculture. understands what resources are available to farmers that can reach the farmers, whether it be a financial assistance that might be available to a farmer, might be some way to extend his loan through the Farmers Home Administration, or it might be medical help, or, all these things that a regular suicide hotline, you may get a call center in India or somewhere. But these people have been farmers. They understand it. They're trained how to help somebody in agriculture. So if you'd help me get that word out to your listeners, maybe we can save somebody's life. We've already saved over 70. So I've got it. It's up and running here in Texas. The number will work in any state. I've got a total of 6 states doing it. We need more states to join. It's cheaper the more states join, but more importantly, it helps get the word out. The biggest struggle is getting the word out. So you can help us get the word out.
It'd be our honor to, for sure. Yes, sir. I appreciate you doing that. And, those stats, it's so sad, but, the stories we've talked about and you've shared, the industry is so great. There's so many wonderful entrepreneurs. There's so many jobs. And to get rid of those jobs and generational, just effort, it's just heartbreaking for sure. And I don't think enough people know what goes into getting your plate full on your dinner table. You've done a great job, but I think a lot of people just don't know. It's hard, it starts way before the sun up, and you're at the barn working all day, and just to wipe it away, that's a shame.
It's a lot different than it used to be. You've got a lot of other technological advances. I kind of explain it to people like this. I said, agriculture, when we started, back in 1700, it was subsistence farming. It was agriculture 1.0. And then came the age of mechanization. Instead of, 40 acres in a mule, it was a tractor and a combine, and one man could farm a section. One man could farm 640 acres, maybe more. And now we're at agriculture 3.0. We're at the age of technology, where technology takes over. And now we have robotic milkers, and we have drones that fly the field. And we have driverless tractors, and we have, computers that can know when to spray a weed and when not. And, so we're at 3.0. So we've come a long way, but we're probably not finished. We will probably continue to advance, because one thing never changes when it comes to farming and ranching. We have to continually produce more with less. That's our challenge. And so far, we've met that.
Yeah, I love that you said that. And, I think FFA's done a pretty good job, 4-H for sure. And a lot of the inner city, young people and adults even that want to be in agriculture, maybe they never had the 40 acres or a tractor, but with the drones and with the driverless tractors, there's ways to get in the industry now from the cities. Do you see that?
Oh, yeah. And I tell people, you want to get involved in agriculture, you don't have to start with a $500,000 tractor and a section of land. I said, you can start in your garage. I said, there's a huge market for tropical fish. Just get you some fish tanks, start your tropical fish farm. You can sell all you can raise. And all you need is a garage and a couple of electrical outlets. And you're in business, buddy, and take off. There's a number. You can do a little truck garden and have a roadside stand. I mean, there's any number of ways.
I love that.
If I started from less than nothing, remember? Less than nothing.
Yes, sir.
And if I can make it, surely anybody should be able to make it.
Oh, I love that, man. I love that inspiration. But I think people, when they hear agriculture, they don't see that. They see the big tractor and the combine, or you riding a horse, me riding a horse. They don't see the truck with the produce or the tropical fish. There's so many different avenues. That's what's so great about agriculture.
Yeah, I didn't start out with a big tractor. It took me 20 years before I ever bought my first new tractor. Really. I mean, it was a long, hard road, but I finally got there and finally got one.
Yeah.
It really was.
That is so awesome. And on like the state of Texas, like the agricultural sites, how do people find like jobs or ideas, or so they can be creative and kind of get excited about working for themselves within our industry.
Right. You know, you have to have the drive and want to. And you one of the things that, since this is an entrepreneur show, I've learned being an entrepreneur and having to, you know, build all this from the ground up is you can't, when you're growing a business, you can't live off the business. Let me explain that. Everything you make has to go back into building the business. You can't take everything the business makes, live off of it, and expect your business to grow. You've got to have another side gig. Like most farmers and ranchers, you need to have a wife that has a good job in town, you know, to pay the bills while you grow your operation.
Right.
But if you're going to grow and be successful, everything that business makes, and at least in the early stages, you got to pour it back into the business and grow that business.
Right.
And the more you do that, the faster and bigger it'll grow. And then at some point, you know, it'll be self-sustaining and you can reap the rewards.
Man, I love that. I love that advice. Well, I know we're getting close to the end here. Let's hear another horse story. What was it like, you know, for you when you saw one of your horses that you raised or bred out there winning?
Well, you know, I just really enjoyed going out to the NFR and watching Cody O ride Pearl. You know, that I get more out of that than me winning some little pumpkin rolling, you know, roping. And just, you know, watch the crowd. It was him and Fred, and, you know, they would bring the house down more than the bull riding. I mean, that was the two. They would tear up Thomas and Mac, and it was exciting to be part of that. You know, he won 16 go-rounds in 6 trips. You know, do the math on that. That's almost 3 go-rounds on NFR.
It's incredible.
And won over $2 million on that mare in the PRCA, plus all the match ropings and jackpots and, you know, the stuff that I won a lot on her myself. I hauled her a lot before Cody got a hold of her. I was the one that seasoned her and hauled her. Remember when me and my son would travel all over the United States, we'd both ride her, you know. So it was fun. I really, really enjoyed that. So those are the best memories, going to NFR. Watch when you have a horse at the NFR that your family bred, trained, broke, raised, hauled, seasoned, you know, right there on your place, and then you see them, they're the top of the top. That's pretty special.
That's absolutely, man. That's absolutely. I'm sure you're seeing you and your son hauling her, and he's riding her, and just so many emotions. But you know, that's what's so exciting about once again, I keep getting passionate about it, but our industry is the memories and the hard work. But once it pays off, or once you see that special, the perfect crop or the perfect horse, there's that 5 minutes you look back and you're just like, that was wonderful. And then it's time to go back to work.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, before we wrap up, since this is an entrepreneur show, I want to leave some sage advice to those out there that they're trying to get a business up and running.
Yes, sir.
And I found this out the hard way. There's 3 things you have to decide to do if you're going to own your own business. Number 1, you've got to provide really excellent service. You've got to provide really high quality product, and you've got to have a really good, cheap price. If you do all 3 of those, I guarantee you will go broke. You can't do all 3 of those. You cannot.
I was hanging on, man, there for a minute. I was like, what in the?
If you have the very best service,
Right,
and you have the very best product, you got to charge for that.
absolutely.
You can't be the cheapest on the block.
That's exactly right. Absolutely.
You can't do all 3. You'll go broke.
That's right. That's right. It's kind of like that hamburger stand down the road. They might be cheaper, but they might be trying to get out of business, and you're just chasing them out with it. You know, so
you pick 2 of those 3 and do them real well, and you'll make money.
yeah.
Don't try to do all 3. You'll go broke. That's what
I love
I'm
that. I love that. I love that. Well, how can people follow you? Like, we're going to put all your links and websites and everything up at the show. I know Steve will get that up, but is there a certain website or something that you would like for people to follow you?
Most people follow me on Facebook, is my most active. I have over 1 million followers there. We reach 40 to 50 million people a month. So a lot of information. We post lots of stuff. And that's Facebook/Miller for Texas. Same thing on LinkedIn or Instagram or Twitter, or I guess it's called X now, and all the other social media sites. Yeah, my website is sidmiller.com.
Awesome. sidmiller.com. And it's a great follow. I follow on Facebook and LinkedIn, and it's just fun. It was fun. I loved how the social media team was incrementally putting up the numbers as you were getting over the 1 million.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Yeah. They did just such a great job, and it's a wealth of knowledge, and it's a fun follow too. You know, some days you're laughing, some days you're learning, some days both.
Yeah. We have fun with it. A lot of it's very serious stuff, but we don't mind laughing and enjoying life too. So
heck yeah, man. That's what it's all about. Well, Commissioner Miller, I appreciate you so much. Thanks for what you're doing for the state of Texas. And I loved your stories, and I can't wait to run into you one day and just sit and drink a cup of coffee and visit some more.
Anytime, my friend. God bless you. Keep doing what you're doing.
God bless. Thank you.
Thank you to all the great sponsors of the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show. If you or your business is interested in being a sponsor of the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show, please call our office at 830-992-1786 or visit our website, cowboyentrepreneur.com.
Well, I grew up in Comanche County, a little town called De Leon, Texas. I grew up on Flat Creek, which is a tributary into the Leon River. That's where I learned to fish and hunt. And I had an older brother. My daddy taught me to swim. They took me down to the Blue Hole on Flat Creek and just threw me in. And learning to swim wasn't the hard part. It was getting out of the tow sack that was tough. How's that? Good. Agriculture's been in our family a long time. We started in 1700. 8 generations of us been farming and ranching. We've been in Texas the last 4 generations. To me, this is a real job. It's a real calling for me. I think now that I look back on it, I didn't know it at the time, but I think the Lord probably been preparing me for this job all my life, but I didn't realize it at the time, but I realize it now. I am the Ag Commissioner, and that's what I'm going to be today and tomorrow and next day and next year and the year after that, because I really believe in agriculture. It's sustained my family for 8 generations, and it's always been the glue that's held Texas together. Even before we had an oil and gas or manufacturing industry, it still does. It's still like the second largest industry in our state. It's over $100 billion industry. So it deserves some attention, and I'm going to give it that. We've reorganized the department, made it more efficient. We launched Operation Maverick, where we went out and rounded up people that were operating outside the law, illegal scales. We registered over 7,000 of those. So we think we've done some good things for the consumers here in the state. And I've got some of the best people working for me, from my assistant commissioners all the way down to the inspectors out in the field. Most everyone that works at the Department of Agriculture has that same type of attitude. They're there because they love agriculture, and they love the people that we work with in the state and the country we serve.